What is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another live edition of the Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams. Tonight, I am joined only by my one of my usual co-hosts, Mr. Kyle Henning. How are we doing tonight, Kyle?
Doing all right. For some reason, you all of a sudden got quiet right as we started. I don't know, technology being weird, but doing good. Doing
Dang.
good. Bye week again, because
Yeah.
I mean, last week was basically a bye week too. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that briefly, but um, no, good. Ready to watch and figure out who exactly it is we're supposed to see coming up. So looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. We got the big super wild card weekend coming
Oh
up.
no, sir. No, sir. No. The NFL no longer wants to
Is it
call it
not
Super Wild Card
super
Weekend.
wild
They
card weekend?
dropped
I
the
don't know.
Super.
Super wild card weekend. It did have a great ring to it. I tell you what,
Yeah,
it
it
made it more
lasted
exciting.
a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if you add super to anything, it's going to make it more exciting, So
I
why not
would
make it
love
super
to
wild
be a
card weekend?
I would love to be a fly on the wall in the
Yeah,
marketing
they're
room
like,
of the
oh, we got
NFL's
this.
offices that were
Yeah,
like, you know what, guys, Super Wild Card Weekend is really what we got to call it because,
yeah. There's
we got to
one extra game.
differentiate it from when it was just the Wild Card Weekend. Oh, we
Yeah,
don't want to call it Super Wild Card Weekend forever.
it's not
Oh,
forever.
okay.
Just to announce the seventh or the whatever the extra game that they play now. I guess like the
The
fifth
extra
game.
team.
Yeah, the extra team per side. Yeah, so wild card weekend. This year, the Chiefs are not participating in wild card weekend, unlike what we did
Ah,
last year. So
that's a
that's
good thing, right?
that is a good thing. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
last
unless
year
you're the
wild
Bengals.
card weekend was pretty enjoyable because we took down the Dolphins at home in Arrowhead in the fourth coldest game in NFL history or whatever. So
I don't know how, and some folks probably didn't find that
yeah, some
supremely
folks. Yeah,
enjoyable. It
I'll
was a
tell you
little,
from my nice warm house watching that game, it was pretty enjoyable. I'll tell you that much. So that
yeah. I
was a
tell
good
you what,
time.
I did not make it a special trip attempt to go to that game.
What? You didn't want to have to stand on cardboard and wear 7 layers of socks? And
Man, I have the gear for that weather,
I bet you do.
and
Yeah.
I still had no interest in
No
going to
desire.
that.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I spent roughly 5 years in a mountain town in Colorado where it gets crazy cold like that.
Yeah.
And no, uh,
No.
just
Just
I
no.
have literally frozen to the decking working on hot tubs in the winter time because
Hmm.
that was one of the jobs I did. One of the things I did while I was out there. And I gotta tell you, not a good time. And it was colder at that game than it was when I was doing what I was doing there. So
Yeah.
even though I have all the gear for it, I have the boots and the gloves with the battery packs and the ski bibs and
Exactly.
thermals
Yeah.
and
Everything.
the coats and the masks and the goggles, all that stuff. Have it all. If you like, I'm sure, and I know some people found this out. If you expose your skin to that air for like longer than a few seconds,
Hmm.
bad things happen.
Yeah. Especially the wind chill. The wind chill is always what really
Yeah,
gets you. And that's how. Yeah, faces start to freeze and whatnot, as I've heard. Yeah, I could not. I would never. I would never dare. I'm a warm weather person through and through, so I could not bear to even fathom something that cold. So yeah, luckily Chiefs fans, we don't have to worry about that this weekend because it is still pretty cold in Kansas City. If
may have
I
to
do
next
recall.
weekend.
Yeah, next weekend though, it's going to be another chilly one for them. Whichever team we end up facing in the divisional round, so we'll be able to kind of just kick back this weekend, watch some of the action unfold, and see if there's any crazy upsets or whatnot. See what potential opponents lie in the Chiefs' future in the divisional and the AFC Championship game. This episode, we are going to be kind of just wrapping up the Chiefs' regular season, recapping a little bit of the Week 18 game versus the Broncos, which, as Kyle alluded to already, it was kind of a bye week in itself. Many starters did not play, and numerous other ones just sat the entire game or played very little. Not much action and
I
not
don't.
much production.
I'm
Uh,
here. I don't know what happened. I don't know why my camera's not engaged. So I will work
oh,
on that
nice.
while you continue. Sorry, I
Okay.
just wanted
No,
you to know I'm not like gone. I'm definitely here.
I was gonna roll with it. I was like, Kyle's he's gone, but he's still with us in spirit. So that's good to hear. Where was I? Where was I talking about? Yeah, the Broncos game. You know, nothing
Sorry.
really crazy
I didn't
that.
mean to derail you. I apologize.
Yeah, you're good. You're all good. Nothing really crazy to talk about in this Broncos game. We'll quickly run through some more notable things that ended up happening in the Broncos game. A couple notable position groups. Kyle's back. Let's go. He's back.
Settings did some. I don't know what that was. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit of the Broncos, and then we'll get into some other off the field stuff and all that good stuff. So yeah, Kyle, what do you think? Initial impression of the Broncos game. 38-0. Chiefs lose to the Broncos. Yeah, pretty much some background noise it became.
Yeah, really fast actually. It was probably right around partway through that second quarter where I was like, I've seen enough.
Yeah.
Because I really, I mean, we knew going in. I thought they were gonna have a little more to it.
Yeah,
We talked about it. I didn't think they were gonna get blown out.
No.
They didn't want to get blown out,
No,
but
yeah, definitely not.
they also, that was the most basic. They played cover 2 the whole game. I don't think he ever came out of cover.
Yeah, I don't know how many
Nah,
blitzes period that there were on defense.
I don't think they.
Maybe not even
I have
once.
tried to think about it. I do not remember them blitzing.
Spag said we were running the same coverage every single play, not showing a damn thing.
Nothing. Well, and it's smart because
It is.
you very much could see them again.
Oh yeah.
If something crazy happens in Buffalo this weekend.
Yeah.
And like we've seen crazy stuff happen in the playoffs. We've been a part of crazy things happening in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Good and bad. Both ways. I mean, we were down 24-0 to Houston in 19.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not great. And
No.
then, you know, you not to tear off band-aids and scars of old wounds, but like the Colts game, pick a Colts game that hurt in the playoffs. You know, there's wild stuff. There's upsets every year. Bad stuff that's not supposed to happen. Bad stuff happens. It is what it is. But if you're gonna see a team in a week, especially a division opponent that already sees you twice a year, why would you give them anything to look at? And
Exactly.
I mean, that's what we saw. This game for me was, I'm watching a couple of players to see how they do.
Mm-hmm.
DJ played a good chunk of snaps.
Yep.
He really only had one that was like, ooh, that's tough. Also, turns out Nick Benito pretty good at this pass rush thing, so that's going to happen occasionally.
Yeah, we learned that now.
The rest of the line had some struggles. I would like the backup center to maybe spend a little more time working on the snaps. That was a little bit of like, good thing Creed is Creed, because Carson was fielding ground balls or jumping to catch snap, like it a little inconsistent. So I mean, I was mostly watching DJ Humphries on offense, a little bit of Nico Remigio, which he made a nice catch. I still don't know if that ball was actually for him or not, but he made a nice catch.
Yeah.
It was a laser. He snatched it out of the air. I don't know if it's enough to keep him on the playoff roster now that it looks like McColl is coming back and Jalen Watson is also back. Like, it's going to get a little tight on the roster as far as things are concerned. But I largely was happy. I think your answer about who's playing offensive line has been answered. I pretty much expect it to be DJ Humphries at tackle and Joe Tooney back at guard at this point.
I don't know. I'm
going to go with Seth
sold.
and Ryan and Dan and
Seth
everybody
was
else
still
on
a
the
little
film.
undetermined about it. He was. I mean,
DJ had one really bad snap, and it wasn't even a really bad snap. It's just a really good move by Nick Benito. It happens. He looked a lot more comfortable, and you lose a lot when you take Joe Tooney out of the guard spot, especially in your run game, and running the ball is going to matter a lot in the playoffs. I think they're going to use both backs a lot more now that Pacheco's had basically another 3 weeks to rest and get that back to as close to 100%, because he was clearly not fully back after that injury. When he was first back those first couple of games, he fought through, he played, he did fine, but it wasn't the same Pacheco, and you can't expect him to be. He broke his freaking ankle. Like,
Yeah.
It's a lot to come back from. So the rest it will be beneficial to a lot of these guys. But that Denver game, it was pretty evident pretty quick. There's not going to be a lot to this that's going to be much. And the defense was on the field like the whole game, and it was backups, so they're going to get tired. They're going to give up points, and they did.
Yeah, I was about to say, when there's that many 3 and outs that the offense was getting, I think the offense ran like 9 plays in the first half.
I was going to say, the first 3 drives, they were 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure there wasn't many first downs created by the offense. So that is tough on the defense having to go out there pretty consistently. But it should be interesting to see kind of what the coaching staff took from the game. We saw a lot of different changes on the offensive line. Like I said, Hunter Nordad was at center. They're playing
chairs.
Yeah, they were playing musical chairs. Yeah, you had Wanye Morris at right tackle. You had Kingsley Suamataia playing. Was he playing right guard or left guard? He was playing.
Yes.
He was playing guard. Yeah, he was playing one of the two guards.
I think he.
And CJ Hansen was the other guy. I think he was at left.
They moved them all over the place. There were guys everywhere. There were at one point, I was so confused on who was playing what offensive line position. I was just like, what is happening?
I had a snap liked about Kingsley. I think he was playing left guard, if I'm not mistaken. And CJ Hansen was right guard.
Yeah, they were, like I said, it was all over the place. They had a lot of young guys out, especially on that offensive line. Carson was terrible. Carson was out there by himself.
Carson had that's a tough role for Carson to be in. If Carson, I still am pretty confident if Carson had to come in with the starters, with the ones and not be as terrible.
Yeah. He missed throws. Do you know what happens when you get hit every time they snap you the ball?
Guy in your face every single time. Yeah,
it was a large ask. He went out there and was a professional about it. He did what he was asked to do. It was a tough ask for him. Basically, no weaponry around him. Very little.
Operating with some very minimal. Yeah, because even most offensive weapons were not playing in that game. Even the guys who were inactive, like the people who caught a catch were Nico Mejio, Peyton Hendershot, Samaje, Justin Watson, Juju caught one. Noah Gray caught one
in the game. Like, what, 10 snaps? He was barely in the game.
Not many, mostly just a couple third downs. And that
Carson
was about
Steele
it.
had a couple of nice runs. Peyton Hendershot, nice catch. Hendershot, I think, is somebody you may see going forward too. I think they try to keep him around next year. I think they liked what they saw, and
I think so. Yeah,
you're gonna have some question marks with Wiley coming off injury. So that's another thing. Like, this game was a lot of, what are you doing for us next year?
Definitely a lot
down
of preview.
The road.
Is
there anybody we can squeeze a drop out of if we have to in the playoffs? Like, that's
right. Yeah, I think the one who definitely proved. Peyton Hendershot definitely, I think, showed that he can be the third tight end for him for at least the playoffs and utilize that 13 personnel. But Nico Remigio, he's definitely pretty impressive. We'll see if it's enough to, like Kyle said, to earn him a roster spot.
It's a tough ask.
Yeah, exactly. They might do some more shuffling around with some of the backups that they have or some of the reserve players they have. We'll see. But I think he definitely showed. If not on the active roster this year, I think they can definitely bring him back and he can compete for a roster spot next year for sure. On the offensive side, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot to gain from watching the offense. Mostly just the offensive line, which we'll see how they view the situation going forward. The Chiefs obviously have 2 weeks of practice now to kind of get DJ into that left tackle spot if that's what they want to do and get him up and acclimated to that. That's the biggest thing.
I know you were saying you disagree. Why is my question?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very much a coin flip for me still. I think, DJ, if he is good, which he didn't look bad during that game. The second half was kind of rough, but that's kind of evident when you're playing from behind and you're mostly passing on those downs anyways. The defense can just tee off on you. If DJ's
And when
healthy
there's no one next to you to help you.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
you're playing against a guy who doesn't play left guard next to you.
yeah,
And
no, not just it's like not like Mike Caliendo was playing guard next to him, and there was
right,
like
like
somebody
he's
who
probably
at least
practiced
played the position
zero
before next
against
to him.
yeah.
There was
So
nothing there.
nothing.
Just
yeah, and
here's
Denver.
some snap counts for you, real quick, while we're
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So they 34 offensive snaps, guys, in the
That's not
whole
much.
game.
That's not many. Yeah, that's like not
Half.
barely a half. Yeah,
That's
like
half
barely a half
of
of a
what they
normal.
normally
Yeah.
have. Because Wanye Morris played the entire offensive game.
Yeah,
All
that makes sense.
34
He
of
was the
it.
starter right tackle and then stayed in there with the reserves. So that was good to have
Justin
him.
Watson had more snaps than some of the offensive linemen did. Okay?
Yep. He was out there
Justin
running.
Watson had 33 snaps. Juju had 32 snaps. Nico had 31 snaps. So those guys mostly played the whole game. And shout out, Juju is still playing, still trying as an old guy in that situation,
Yeah.
in a game that he knows that doesn't affect squat. Like,
How many
there's some
snaps
guys
did
that did some stuff.
How many snaps did DJ have? Did he have
Humphreys? He
Yeah.
had 32. He played most of the game.
Did he? So who else played at left tackle during the game? I don't recall.
know.
Yeah.
I thought
So I
I
thought he was
saw
out there
them.
with the
I thought I
starter.
saw
And then,
Kingsley get like 2 snaps at the end there when
oh yeah, because they put in a Olodokun at the
when
end. They might
Chris
have
was
put in
out. Yeah.
Driscoll or someone out there. Yeah, you're right.
So Olodokun played 5 snaps.
Yeah, there's like
like I
one
said,
and a half drives or something at the end of the game.
woof. So
yeah, my
here's
thing
your
with
snap counts. Kingsley 31, Norzad 31, Hansen 31, DJ had
so that was like the
32,
whole second team, basically.
and then Ethan Driscoll had 4 snaps. So I'm assuming Driscoll was the tackle that they threw out there.
Yeah, I think for left tackle, I think they probably end up rolling with Humphreys. I don't know. It's what I would do personally. Like I get that the upside is better with Tooney at guard than tackle, and if DJ is healthy, that is good to have him out there, and if he's up to the task and he's actually putting good product on tape and can handle it, then I'm cool with it. I'm just saying, if he gets re-injured again, then you're just doing the same thing, putting him back.
Fine.
Out,
you can always go back to Tooney outside.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
it's
have
always an option. Yeah, I love just getting more chemistry with Tooney and Caliendo in there. They've already had some good work. Caliendo hasn't shown to be too much of a drop off at left guard. I mean, obviously there's a difference, but like it's not like the worst thing in the world. Now it's going to help him run game tremendously if Tooney is back at guard. I don't disagree with you there. So I think that's
the biggest gap is the pass blocking. Look, Joe fought and did everything you could have asked for and then some as the tackle, but he also struggled at points and he had some stuff he had to fight through, and it's not natural and it's hard to do that.
Yeah. Which
and
is why if you give him more and more weeks of doing it, and if it's a position he's already been playing, he might be more comfortable at it. But I understand the sentiment, that you want to go with. It's probably better to go with the actual tackle in the playoffs than not. The experiment worked for the last couple of weeks of the regular season, but I agree, and that's probably the coach's plan the entire time. Like if you can put DJ in there, then you do. If he is fully 100% and they feel like he's good to go, then I'm cool.
Even if he's 90%, I would still roll with him. And here's my thing: in the playoffs, Justin Reed in the little Chiefs playoff hype video thing talked about it. Everything is another half step or a step faster. Mm-hmm. Everything is another half step or a step quicker, faster. Everybody's a little more juiced up. There's a little more to it. And that's a lot to ask a guard. Amazing guard. Hall of Fame guard. I don't even know if that's a question at this point based on his resume.
Mm-hmm.
But he belongs at guard, especially if they are going to run the football effectively in the playoffs. I like Mike Caliendo. He helps them in the passing game. I think there's not as much of a drop-off. But in the run game,
it is noticeable.
There's a difference, and it's a noticeable one, especially also, on that left half.
Yeah, and also, of course, if we want the Chiefs to run the ball more, which they need to do, because they've recently been trying to not run the ball anymore, which is why it might be more ideal to have Caliendo out there. But you're right, they do need to run the ball better and that probably also helps by just having Tooney in there, a more established interior three to run the rock better. So I'm cool with it either way. I got a lot of trust in the coaching staff. I know the offensive line coach and Andy Heck and Andy Reid they've not been shooting 100% this year, if we're being honest. But come playoff time, I have full confidence that they'll piece together the best five that they have and put them out there and get them very prepared. And, worst case, you have to move Tooney back out there if something happens to DJ again and you're in the same spot, that I think is still a good spot to be in either way. I think now with DJ, you have two good situations at left tackle if need be. So we'll see. Hopefully everyone else on the defensive line is up and healthy. Obviously, Jawan Taylor has missed he missed this game. So we'll see. Hopefully he'll be ready for the playoffs as well. Otherwise, you have Wanye there, who's looked good at the reps. So he's taking out right tackle. But yeah, other than that, offensively wise for the Broncos game, nothing else really to show. And even on the defensive side, I don't know if there's any guys that you particularly wanted to highlight.
I thought watching that now, he's trying to make up and do a lot of things. Najee was all over the place, and as far as when he's making tackles and doing stuff. And I know everybody's, he's making tackles because he's giving up passes. Well, not all the time. Some of that is them playing zone and him having to rally to places. There were some guys that missed some stuff. I thought Najee was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't great. He wasn't anything special, but I think if you have to use him in the playoffs in certain spots, you can, which is something we needed to find out. Christopher Roland Wallace.
Maybe not having Jamari Connor in the playoffs, or at least, I think he's still banged up. So
that one makes me a little nervous because he is a depth piece that is important. Now, the stepping up of Jaden Hicks has been important. Jaden Hicks played a pretty decent.
Yeah, Jaden Hicks. I was impressed with Jaden Hicks' game. Yeah.
Felix
continues
to make plays, continues to show he can do certain things. He's getting better. He was always going to be a project. I know. Oh, he's a first round pick. Yeah, kind of. Just like every first round pick is. Yeah, kind of. Except for
especially if you're a late first round pick like he is. Yeah,
like it's different. Where we draft every year, there's not any real surefire bullet first rounders left, unless a team just whiffs and doesn't do what they should.
Yeah, most years teams have like 15, 20 first round grades on guys.
At most.
So it's like at the end of in the 30s where the Chiefs are always picking. It's mostly second rounders that you can get in that are projects. Yeah.
Ironically, the guy that they put on IR today, Marlon Tuipulotu had a pretty good day.
Yeah, big guy.
Like I said, that was as vanilla of a defense as physically possible by Spags.
Yeah.
And they basically were just like, hey, can you guys kind of make plays against this a little bit? And the answer was the little bit at the beginning was okay, and then they were out there for the whole game.
Yeah, and the Broncos, I mean, to their credit, they have a pretty good offense with Bo Nix out there and the weapons and the scheme that they've got going.
And Cortland Sutton's a legit problem as a wide receiver.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton's really good. They have a really good running back room as well with Audric Estime and McLaughlin and whoever else is in there.
Hey Garrett, where'd Audric Estime go to school?
To the team that's in the college football finals, Notre Dame now. That would be.
Yes, he did. Yes, they are. Shout out the boys from Notre Dame for last night. That was if you guys somehow missed that game, that's a game you should go back and just rewatch if you can. That was a fist fight.
It was a barn burner.
60 minutes of an absolute war.
Yep.
And it was a good time. I had a great time last night with that game. So my blood pressure
got one more coming
through the roof for a good portion of that.
I can imagine. Yeah,
I can imagine. It was good.
Can't imagine what it's gonna be like next week or whatever.
Especially if the current college football semifinal continues in the route that it is, that would mean that they're playing Ohio State, and one of my best friends on this planet is an Ohio State fan. So
have a little party where you throw fisticuffs.
I told him we need to watch it together. I don't know if we're going to or not because I don't know if we can be in the same room.
I say it's always tough to watch with the opposing fan. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. It's a tough ask.
But it'll be fun. But yeah, like I said, Tui Pelotu,
Mhm.
Felix, you know, I was, like I said, I was mostly interested in just a few of the guys. That's the other thing I was going to look at was snap counts on the defense. I got to
Yeah,
scroll.
we saw
Shout
we
out
saw
Jordan Foot for posting the snap counts because I can never find that crap. I know
yeah,
it's out there. I never am able to really locate it, and he
him
does it
and Nick
every week, so I
Jacobson
don't have
always
to worry
post
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jordan. Um, but the snaps weren't anything out of. You got you got a racetrack outside your
You
house,
hear that?
Garrett?
You hear that? Yeah.
Good lord.
Some guys did like a burnout inside my house. That was dope.
So
That was
to give
pretty
you,
cool.
that was the other reason I really wanted to look at it. 74 defensive snaps to 34 offensive snaps.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, that is
Hey.
incredible. Yeah, that is incredible.
Cam Jones played the entire game. Jaden Hicks played the entire game. I was a little surprised to see Brian Cook play the entire game, but he played the entire game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you have to
And
have someone out
then
there
Nazi
who's
played
knows the
about
defense.
85%. Malik Herring was fine.
Yeah.
I told you, I told you what they were gonna do with Joshua Uche,
Mhm.
and they did it.
Yeah. Just
They
ran him out there.
off ball linebacker. What
Yeah, off ball basically. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he was just an
he
extra body out there.
Yeah,
Him and
there
old
was
Blake
a pass
Lynch.
rush snap where he was actually allowed to pass rush, and oh, what was
He
that?
actually pass
Pressure
rush.
off the edge.
Dang,
He got there in a
he
speed
did the
rush around
pass
the
rush.
top and got there in a hurry and put pressure. Like, oh,
Wow.
that's probably why they brought him in.
Hmm.
Um, I love Spags to death. I do. I just wish like hell he would occasionally let a guy do what they do when
Yeah.
they don't
The
fit
problem
his
was
technical build.
he can't stop the run, Kyle. He
I
can't.
I know.
He's not big and slow and can stop the run.
Seth tweeted, who's that 55 out there that just
Yeah,
ripped around the edge?" I said,
too quick.
"Did they re-sign Frank Clark and not tell us?" So, you know, Leo played a good amount and had a pretty good day. Like I said, this was just it's a tough ask for that defense to be on the field for the whole game,
Yeah,
basically,
exactly. Especially in that
and
second half, they were you can tell they were pretty winded. You
just
can tell
gassed.
they were just trying to get home, which they couldn't even
Well,
go home for another 24 hours
I
after
mean,
that.
they
Which
got
was,
stuck on a tarmac for an
yeah, honestly, they should have
additional
just been
4
like,
hours on the
listen,
plane.
we'll just forfeit the game. Don't even worry. We'll just forfeit. Hey, we'll just stay
That's
here.
all the circumstances involved with them being basically stuck on a plane for a while. Like Travis said, he got on the plane, fell asleep thinking they
Fell
were gonna
asleep.
go, and then woke up and they were still sitting in Kansas City. Like,
Like, what time? What happened?
so that, and then they know they're not gonna be able to get out for like a full day, so they're
Yeah, they couldn't
stuck
leave
in
till the next
Denver.
morning. Yeah,
It was none of that was productive
yeah, kind of a
for
big waste of time. Yeah,
a winning perspective or even a make it competitive. I did all the screaming and crying on the internet by a certain fan base was, I guess, worth it
oh boy,
because
yeah,
the temper tantrums and the stomping of the feet and the stomping of the fists
yeah, real
because
entitled
they
group
couldn't
over
handle
there.
their own
Yeah,
business is hilarious.
how many games did they win in September again?
One.
Maybe one,
They
maybe.
started out 1-4, I believe,
Yeah. So maybe that's why that you didn't
with
make the
losses with a
playoffs. I
loss to
couldn't
the
tell you.
Patriots in the opener. That
Yeah.
the Jacoby Brissett led Patriots.
Yeah.
Also, on that note, I
So
didn't see anybody crying about the Bills losing that game and changing the whole draft order to the
hmm,
Patriots that week. I didn't see
didn't hear
anybody
that.
crying
No.
about
Joe
the other
Milton put the
teams that
team on his back. That's what he
Joe
did.
Milton lit them up.
The dog.
I didn't see anybody crying about the other teams that rested. The Eagles resting everybody. The only thing I saw people mad about that was not letting Saquon go for the
Saquon
record,
record.
but
Yeah.
that's not the goal.
No.
Like, I
Yeah.
get it. It's not the goal. So that's a whole. I'm not going to give it too much oxygen or airtime, but just that made it more entertaining
Yeah.
at least. But yeah, the defense. I mean, Turk Wharton played 3 steps. Mike Dana played 6.
Yep. Sounds about
So
right. Yeah. Those are guys that you're gonna need to be fully healthy. That's why just saw a lot of garbage time from a bunch of random players like Blake Lynch. Shout out Blake
Matt
Lynch.
Ariza got a bunch of work in punting the football,
He
so
did.
he got a bunch of that in.
Yeah.
In some colder conditions that that'll be an experience he'll want for later.
49-yard average, 3 inside the 20. Hey,
Yeah.
it's
So
not bad. It's not bad. We might need that.
it Harrison I
Harrison
said this
missed one. Yeah.
Yeah. It, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a playoff game, not a big game, not a he's that guy in the bigger games. He always has been.
Yeah.
And honestly, I said this in the preview. I would have let Justin Reed kick off and kick field goals. I
Yeah.
would have just
Yeah.
let
Honestly.
Harrison sit on the sideline and hang out. I get potentially why they didn't. They didn't want Justin to accidentally do
Yeah, you
something
don't
like
want
hamstring or
hamstring
something
or something.
stupid.
Yeah. It's
But
only need to activate Spencer Schrader from IR. Just put him on the
well, I don't know if he's healthy still.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
but if he was, that'd be just a fun little thing to do. But yeah, although I mean, not a lot of concern. Harrison's a pro. He's been in those situations before. I have a lot of confidence he'll figure that thing out. But just not always ideal. I mean, it just gets get him out the way, Harrison. Get those bad ones out the way before the real ones start to matter. So, I think that's about everything that we can talk about on the Broncos game. I think we've just about covered it here. Anything else that you can think? I think that was pretty good, huh?
that was it.
Yeah.
We've already spent too much time talking about that game.
Yeah, exactly. It was
We
literally
spent more time
game.
talking about that game than they did game planning for that game.
Exactly. Yeah, and honestly, then I did watching the game too. Like, yeah, it was literally just I turned it on. And it was just background noise for me as I was going through. I even just had Red Zone on another channel, so I was just
scrolling through the phone, watching Bengals fans melt down on social media.
That was a pretty funny part. Actually, it's funny. I met a Bengals fan in real life just a couple days ago.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah, it turns out the real life ones aren't as bad. They're not as
I had that similar experience.
crybaby.
The ones that you meet like not on that website on the websites are at least for the most part. And they
seem okay.
I got to shout out a couple of the ones on the website. I actually quote tweeted one and said a reasonable, rational take from a Bengals fan. That's a thing.
There's a few.
So I'm happy for everybody that watched that. Congratulations for making it through, watching the entirety of that and focusing on it. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
I think Tucker Franklin, one of our friends over at KCSN, said he took a nap, which I don't blame him at all.
That's valid. Yeah, mostly the only reason I watched that game was
taking a nap
because I had to come on and talk here about it. But even
then, like I said, so yeah. Now you continue your bye for your starters. You watch these games this weekend. You get prepared. You get a little bit of rest. You get some recuperation of some more on some of those guys that have been injured, and you get ready for the run and for the time of the year that actually matters for this team. This is what
the real season.
This is what everybody has been, including I think this team, has been waiting for all year. I know we talked about it some last year when it was like. Everyone's like, "Oh, they're gonna be terrible. They're not gonna do this or that. They're the regular season. They're falling apart." And the Christmas Day game was god awful, and we all know. And then they didn't lose a game for a year.
Yeah,
a whole year.
How they do it. Yeah, that's how they do it.
So This is what this is about. It's been about it since the second that they won the last Super Bowl. They said it on the podium. They said it in the post game. They said it all spring, all off season. They're after a three-peat. They do not care what it looks like to get there. They do not care what it sounds like outside. They just want to get it done. And now they're at the point. They did everything they needed to do. They have their checklist. Win the division. That was done by like late October.
Yeah, pretty
early
much.
November.
Pretty much lock that up real early.
Win the 1 seed.
Boom.
Christmas. Would have been a little sooner had they beat Buffalo. They didn't beat Buffalo because they never seem to beat Buffalo in the regular season. Cool.
Take your victory lap.
Get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now it's Super Bowl.
That's the next step. Yep.
This is the portion of being a Chiefs fan that none of us ever thought we would be in, where the Super Bowl is the goal and anything else is whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not
to the playoffs.
I'm not going to tell you that if they don't get this done, that I'm going to just be distraught and absurd and they're just a bust and it was a failure, because they've I think, got the best record of any team defending two Super Bowls
I
in
think so.
history.
Yeah.
They are poised to do something we've never seen before, and if they don't get it done, it sucks. Not going
Yeah.
to be happy about it, but it's not going to be like, oh my god, they just suck and they're a failure and fire everybody. So
Right. Luckily, we don't have to worry about those feelings because it's going to happen. Without a shadow of doubt, it's going to happen. But yeah, that's okay. So that's the regular season wrapped up. Pretty. I mean, as a whole, the regular season, 2024 Chiefs regular season, it was sure was an interesting one. I'll tell you that much. It was a lot of pressure, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of adversity, a lot of doubters.
a lot of
Um,
injuries.
yeah, a lot of
Lot of
injuries.
injuries.
That really took a toll. A lot of just craziness, crazy last second victories, and just sneaking out things by the skin of our teeth. But hey, got there
It's
in the end, 15
it's
and
called
2.
preparation.
Yeah, it is
They
preparation,
they all
determination.
three phases. It's a football. I know it's stupid and cliche, but football is a three-phase full team sport.
Yeah,
Sometimes your offense doesn't have a good time, when you're missing wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, tight end 2, tight end 3, tight end 4, tight end
yeah.
5, tight end 6,
You can keep on, yeah, keep on going
running
with
back
that. Yeah,
1, running back
running back.
2.
Yep.
Running back 2 didn't play this year really
Yeah.
for most of the year until they went and signed a guy off of his couch who then proceeded to lead them in scrimmage yards for
Yeah.
the season.
And also just set like career high in carries per
Yeah,
game.
Kareem Hunt
Yeah.
had 904 scrimmage yards.
Yeah. There was games that
Next
he had
on
like
that list
20.
was
He had
the
27 carries in a game.
yeah.
Like think
Next on
about
that
that.
list was the guy that everybody said, or that a bunch of people say is washed and had his worst season ever, and he's not good anymore, and he's falling off. Oh, he had 830 yards and 97 catches. Sorry, yeah, that's terrible. I know. And the
Yep.
third guy was a rookie, so the offense isn't going to be perfect when you're missing large chunks of your offense the whole
Yeah.
season.
Yep.
Um, they battled through. They've got it done. The injuries, cornerback, missing your CB2 for
Yeah.
most of the year. Missing, God, I can't even rattle. Like, how many linebackers are they missing right now?
Yeah. There's a
Like
couple. I mean, they have.
four or five ends. Like Cochran's gone. Uh, there's just so many different injuries,
Yeah.
so many things that have happened, so many different things they had to overcome. Whether Mahomes had a rough first 6 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's he
Definitely
done
kind of a
since?
down year for him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, lit it up.
Yeah. Didn't matter though.
Ask the Steelers if he's still himself.
Mm-hmm.
So in a game that they had to win, in a game that they needed to win to get the bye, and so he could go have his third child in peace and
Yep.
take his time, they got it done. So enjoy this. It was a fun year. It feels like it just started and it's already over. 15-1 with the second loss being a game that nobody played in. Like, we'll take that every time.
Yeah. It is pretty crazy to think about how quick the season goes by, but how crazy successful, but also just like it doesn't feel successful in the moment. But then you look back and it's like, oh yeah, we're 15-1, and just yeah, I mean that's the kind of championship mindset that teams like the Chiefs and other teams competing for dynasties and competing for back-to-back Super Bowls and back-to-back-to-back Super Bowls. It's like there's just a different level that you can't really even experience until you're a part of it and you're kind of distraught at a 15-win season, which doesn't happen very often. I'll tell you what, 15 wins is pretty hard to come by in an NFL season. You do not see that very frequently. So
It's
hats
hard
off
to
to the
win in the
team.
NFL, no matter who
Yeah,
you're playing. It is
it's
extremely
really
hard to
hard to
win.
win. Yeah,
I
exactly.
I think probably the part that highlights that the most is Andy having to tell them like, "Hey guys, we won that game, the Carolina game, in the locker
Right.
room.
Yeah. Where they were very
Hey,
upset about winning. Yeah, in overtime.
we did win, guys. We did. I
Mhm.
know that locker room. They all know. They know where they're at. Their play is how they don't want to have struggles and fights, but they also know that it's part of it. And I know there's an easy comparison for me right now because I have watched Notre Dame my entire life. This is the first team that has a winner championship level mindset, I think, since Lou Holtz stopped coaching there.
Shout out Lou Holtz.
Marcus Freeman has a lot of things that he does in college where they aren't the prettiest. The offense isn't always great. They win in the margins, and winning in the margins is how you win football games. You win the middle 8 minutes, the 4 before half and the 4 after half. You win on special teams. You win with defense. And the Chiefs have done it every single possible way you can think of this year to win a game, which we talked a little bit about earlier. They've blocked a kick. They've thrown game-winning touchdown passes. They've run the ball. They've made defensive stops. They've gotten intercept. They finally started getting turnovers. Thank you, Jameis Winston,
a lot of
taking
them,
the top off the turnover bug, and now they can finally get turnovers again. Like, they've won
nice.
in every possible way, and when you want to win a championship, that's what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the stuff that makes or breaks teams, and that's the difference maker for real. So definitely, shout out to everyone, all the players, the staff, training staff, everybody for just really, grinding and straining and all the cliche clips that all the cliche words they said. It was definitely a lot of hard work, and now it's time. This is the real time of the season. This is when you make or break it and play the real good football that we're very used to seeing the Chiefs play. So, we've got a couple other things to touch on tonight before we get out of here. Some all-pro teams and just a couple other things. But before we get into that, real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Underdog Fantasy. They are still rolling with us for the rest of the year, basically. We're rolling with Underdog. If you're not familiar with Underdog, they are a great new app coming up. Great for
relative.
Yeah, exactly. They're an up and coming one, fast growing, for fantasy sports and pick'em contests and all these different things. I'm telling you, just give it a shot. If you're new, if you've never used it, give it a shot. You can sign up with our promo code KingdomSays. You'll get a first deposit match bonus up to $1,000 plus a free pick, which is pretty cool. And just check it out. There's a lot of real cool things on the app. You get
all kinds of stuff.
Picks of higher and lowers of guys' stats, and you've got fantasy aspects on there. You've got just a ton of different things that you can occupy some time with on there.
They got all kinds of contests for draft contests, especially I think there's playoff stuff they're doing with the NFL right now. Of course, there's NBA if you're into the NBA stuff.
Yeah.
Hockey, there's a bunch of NHL on there. Baseball will be a rack around again at some point. You Royals fans, they have a bunch of baseball stuff too. It's a great site.
Coming up soon.
Yep. Well, college basketball season is currently going. It's just
but not the real college basketball season.
So, check that out. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. We'll probably look to see if we can't put a little set of picks together for this weekend that we're not participating in. But little higher or lower, little pick set up there. And there's the multipliers that they use. It's a really cool way that they do it. It's not a traditional sense of some of the other sites. It's a little bit different, and it's a lot of fun. So check that out. Get that deposit batch bonus. Help us out. Help yourself out. Enjoy it.
Yep. Promo code KingdomSays. Check that out.
And shout out to 100 or so of you that are hanging out with us on a Friday night.
Exactly. Yeah, I know there's semi-football or semi-college,
college football semifinal.
Yeah, semifinals college football going on. All those different words going on. We appreciate everyone joining us tonight. Couple of things we wanted to hit on real quick. The AP All-Pro team was released. There were a couple All-Pro teams released. The AP one seems to be the one that matters the most for most people. Yeah, that's the one that really kind of goes down the record books. So the Chiefs had 4 members of the All-Pro team. We had 3 first-team All-Pros in Chris Jones, Joe Tooney, and Creed Humphrey, and Trent McDuffie was a second-team All-Pro. which is a very interesting decision. And if there's no couple names that I didn't mention, that's probably pretty crazy as well. Trey Smith did not get a mention at first or second team All Pro. Trent McDuffie being second team is wild. Shout out to Chris, Joe, and Creed though for earning that first team nod. They're definitely very well deserved it. But yeah, definitely kind of questionable award season still going for the Chiefs after the Pro Bowl and now this. It's kind of interesting how they
I guess
decisions.
I guess Trey wasn't on the ballot because I don't know how on earth he's not second team if he's not first team.
Yeah, he's not first. He has to be second.
No offense to Quinn Miners. Quinn played great. He's been good all year. So has Trey Smith. There's a reason that the interior of the Chiefs' offensive line is talked about as being one of the best in football. And yes, Joe and Creed are part of that. So is Trey Smith.
Yeah, Trey's almost had a contract year. I mean,
he's been excellent.
Year, but he's having
he's been
career year.
Excellent, but he's also not getting the love. But the Trent McDuffie second team, I don't know what you're watching if you're a voter. Derek Stingley is great. Sure. I don't know how you say he's had a better year than Trent has had this year. Trent had one game where a receiver got really anything on him, and it was Cortland Sutton, and it was really on one play.
Yeah.
By most advanced metrics, Trent gives up the least separation, like by a mile on pass plays. Jamar Chase was throwing his helmet and having a temper tantrum on the sideline because Trent McDuffie had him locked up.
Yep.
Nobody locked Jamar Chase up all year except Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, no, he's pretty deserving of it. Yeah, he's pretty, especially being a first-team All-Pro last year at
nickel corner,
slot corner or whatever. Yeah, nickel
slot corner, whatever you want to call it. He then moves outside and has a better year than he did inside playing that position.
And he only makes
He finally got the monkey off his back with the interceptions. He got a couple of them.
Come on.
I know. To me, it largely feels like that was because Stingley was drafted in the same draft. Stingley was the first guy off the board ahead of Trent. And I think, did he go before Sauce or after Sauce?
I don't remember. They were like
Stingley and Sauce went like basically on top of each other. And the Pro Bowl is supposed to be a popularity contest, or not supposed to be. It is a popularity contest. It's not supposed to be, but it is. The All Pro is supposed to be voted on by the guys that watch the games and really break it all down and watch all the teams. And I just don't know how you watch both of those two guys side by side and Trent ends up second team. I just don't. I'm not even going to talk about Surtain because Surtain's great. He's been great.
Surtain I can see. Yeah, not Stingley.
Not Derek Stingley. And it's no shot at Derek Stingley, but when you're the second best player, or at points in time the best player, because Chris was great all year. Chris should be in the DPOY conversation. Chris won't be in the DPOY conversation. I don't understand because we haven't been able to find a second corner all season.
Exactly, especially when Jalen went down and there's extra work.
With Jalen down, there's been nobody, and this isn't to take away from those guys, but it's been a struggle for all the other corners, all for us, all year. It's been a main topic of conversation, not just amongst Chiefs Kingdom, but amongst the whole league, amongst every national show. They have struggles at corner away from McDuffie, and yet apparently McDuffie's not very good according to the voters in any of this stuff. And it doesn't make any sense other than Chiefs fatigue. That's the only way. I think that's the only reason Trey Smith didn't get first or second team is because we can't have it all be Chiefs in interior offensive linemen. We can't have too many Chiefs on here. Well, okay, so if they don't have that many All-Pros and they don't have hardly any Pro Bowlers and the quarterback's not very good, and I'm using other people's words, not mine, because Patrick is Patrick. Then how is Andy Reid not coach of the year? But he's not going to be in that conversation either. So
I
The
mean, all you
award
do is win
shows
15 games. Yeah.
it's absurd at this point. It's the disrespect level is very high, and we know one thing about this team. They use that stuff as fuel to the flame.
Yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
are
They're
going.
gonna take note for sure. They're taking note.
Oh, if you don't believe me, Bobby Stroop already taken notes for Patrick.
Oh yeah. He's already letting the world know.
He that was on the Pro Bowl stuff even that
Yeah.
he was like, "What? Okay." Like, fine. He's not that good, huh? Guess the two-time defending champion 15-1-2 team is just a bunch of who nobody who's who what's happenings.
Yeah. I guess so.
Okay.
Guess so.
Well, I guess we'll find out in the playoffs because it's hard for me to grasp the way that some of these awards are done now, I guess is my thing. I know
Yeah.
I've ranted, but I get just it's so frustrating to watch guys get absolutely snubbed and snubbed. Trent McDuffie not being a first team All Pro is a snub. He's had the first or second best cornerback season in the NFL this year. He just
Yeah.
has.
That's
Of
definitely
any
true.
of
I
NFC
agree.
or AFC.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, these votings just they keep on getting more and more interesting. It's hard to take them as seriously anymore. AP is still the first team all pros are still, that's always the one that you can always fall back on and be pretty reliable. But yeah, I don't know what AP's doing over there. They definitely missed on this one though, and luckily for the Chiefs, of course, of especially the recent years, all these guys can hoist all their individual award trophies, and we know what trophy the Chiefs will be hoisting at the end of the year. So it's kind of at one hand you want to get the awards and accolades, but also we're going toward one goal, and everyone's pretty bought in on that front. So that's another year of all pro teams and whatnot. The playoffs are. What's up, G-Pick? Welcome back. I remember him from last week.
yeah. How you doing, sir?
So yeah, playoffs.
I assume sir, because G pick, but maybe sir or ma'am. Either way.
2025, Kyle.
Nice to
You
see
can't be
you.
assuming. A couple other notable things going into the playoffs for the Chiefs related news. There have been some coaching interviews coming up here or already happened. A couple of them already happened. A couple of the teams that have already been eliminated that have some head coach and GM vacancies have reached out to a couple members of the Chiefs organization. Steve Spagnuolo has gotten a couple. I know for the Jets for certain. I forget who else.
The Raiders.
Raiders, yeah, Raiders. That's one. Matt Nagy also had a head coach interview. I think also with the Jets, and
I think it was the Jets, and supposedly the Saints are going to show interest in him at some point.
Okay, yeah. And then, those are the two
Mike
coaches.
Borgonzi also.
Mike Borgonzi in the front office.
And I think Carolina's interested in Borgonzi as well.
Yeah, I want to say that I would expect a couple teams end up being interested in those guys. But yeah, interesting to see. Obviously, it's very early in the cycle, and we've talked about this the past few years with the head coaching interviews and the system and how it works. It was kind of the downfall of Eric Bieniemy for a couple years because all these teams would kind of hire coaches before the Chiefs playoff runs were even over. So that's always been kind of a challenge with this Chiefs assistant coaches getting hired. So we'll see if there's any prospects this year that end up making a move at it.
I hope Spags doesn't do something crazy. Look,
Yeah.
I want him to have a shot at a head coaching job if he wants another head coaching job.
Yep.
But those two franchises, you're not
good ones to do it.
You're
I mean,
not
he knows
fixing,
the New York market, so he knows
I
how
love
that goes.
Spags. You're not fixing those organizations. I don't care who you are. Andy Reid isn't fixing both of those organizations. You know why? Because the problem is above them. And above the GM too.
It starts with the owner, yeah.
The ownership
the worrying
issues
part
of both of those franchises are just so bad. There's no way on earth I would take that. Like he legitimately could be the first assistant head coach or assistant coach to go into the Hall. I actually think he will be.
Yeah, there's a decent
But
chance. Yeah.
I don't want him to go take a head coaching job, and the last thing anybody remembers him for is he was the coach of a 3-14 Jets team
Yeah.
because they are unfunctionable as a franchise.
Yeah, they have a
They just
kid as
are.
their GM.
Matt Verderam, shout out, I believe is from the New York area. They talk about it on the that football show over at KCSN all the time. That organization is a dumpster fire and
Yeah,
has
pretty
been
bad.
forever. Let Rex Ryan try it again.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
let
Rex.
Rex.
Knock
Rex
yourself
seems
out.
like he
That way we don't
wants
have to
it.
listen to
Yeah,
you on TV
let Rex
anymore.
do it. Yeah, yeah, and then
Like,
also, I mean, the Raiders too are not much
oh
better.
my
You know,
God.
it's like
Antonio Pierce got a year
a
with
year.
no quarterback in sight.
Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. It's like, all right, you got it. You got this.
With no quarterback in sight.
Yeah,
He got a year and got fired. And
that's the thing. Yeah, that's
and they fired him after letting him do press work again. Like, what?
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what you always kind of wonder.
And 3 days later, they fired Telesco.
Fired Telesco as well.
Which,
yeah, so
if that doesn't tell you that there's not a lot of certainty inside that organization on what's happening and what's going on, I don't know what does. Because if you were going to fire them both.
just do it right
at
away.
the same
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah,
So
definitely an
I really hope.
organizational dysfunction.
I know that there's only 32 jobs, and I know that there's only, and it's a hard position, but you don't got to do that to yourself, man.
No, and I think I mean, especially Spags. I think he kind of realizes because I know someone had asked him in his press conference the other day, and he didn't want to spend too much time on it, but I think he definitely acknowledges that he would like to get a head coaching job, but also has to be the right situation. You know, I mean, he's leaving a very good situation in Kansas City to have to go reshape an entire organization somewhere else with a questionable ownership group. It's just it's not ideal, and he has
stuff working against him. He's older.
Yeah.
All the league wants young, new, up-and-coming hot shots, and
most
of the league wants offensive coaches.
That as well. Yeah, that is also a big thing that is pretty common around the league, which is why Matt Nagy is still getting many offensive or many coaching
I know
interviews.
people hate on Matt, but he took the Bears to the playoffs twice, and Mitch Trubisky was the quarterback, and Mitch Trubisky is awful.
In case you haven't tuned in, also the Bears are also kind of one of those organizations that it's going to take something from the top.
I feel bad for Ryan Poles. I said it when he left. I hoped that, like, on the whole world, that they actually let that ownership group got out of the way and didn't cause problems. No. But the way that the Bears are set up, where they basically have the ownership and then they have a go-between between the GM and the coaches, which is Kevin Warren, and the whole side, like, it's just a circus.
Yeah, so, that's why, like, when you talk about head coaching openings and these vacancies and stuff, it's like, look at the top, you know, look at the ownership and what they're doing and see if that's something that you would ever even want to.
And that's the other thing about this. I hear a lot of people that give the Hunts a lot of crap, especially like Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
Guys, it could be so much worse.
Oh my goodness, it could be so much worse. Yeah.
They are.
Oh no, they're not upgrading the facilities.
It's not Jerry Jones trying to micromanage everything. It's not the McCaskies. It's not Woody Johnson worrying about people's Madden ratings. In the middle
of the locker room.
Like, it's not Jerry Johnson. It's not Woody Johnson trying to worry about people's Madden ratings on it and on whether or not he's going to be a foreign ambassador again. Like,
it's pretty bad around the league. Yeah, there's some pretty good owners.
What you've got, because it could be so much worse.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure there'll be a couple other teams that reach out to both Nagy and Spags, and probably even Borgonzi and a couple other front office members, because that's especially in the front office. Like, you should try to replicate what the Chiefs got going. They've done it with Ryan Poles, and Brant Tillis is now doing it in Carolina.
Well, Carolina, I'll be curious to see if they don't promote him up. I would, and the Titans job is available, so that might be a Borgonzi spot.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's gonna be a opening.
It'll be interesting, because the other part is, you mentioned it. I don't know how they haven't, but somehow a team that has won 2 straight Super Bowls and 3 of the last 4 hasn't really had a lot of turnover as far as the office staff or the coaching staff.
Yeah, there's been a
And that
couple
doesn't normally
position
happen.
coaches that have left for like college jobs.
Terry Braden got the Nebraska O-line job, I think is what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
And shout out, by the way, former Chief coach Dylan McCullough, who is headed to
mm,
the college football playoff
yeah.
final with Notre
And
Dame. He
you got
is the running
yeah,
back coach for the University of Notre Dame. They are doing their things, but it's not. That's basically it as far as when they've lost
exactly. Yeah.
guys.
Eric Bieniemy's contract expired, so then he left, and then outside of that, there hasn't been much turnover. Which, like I said earlier, it's kind of attributes to the fact that these teams are hiring before the Chiefs playoffs
So
cycle is even over, which is ridiculous, and that's kind of silly how that whole
that's the NFL's not
process
having that
works.
structured out right,
Yeah,
and that's a separate conversation. But
exactly. But I mean, fortunately for the Chiefs, it does work out because we retain some amazing staff, and
yeah,
hoping to do
I
that
hope it
selfishly.
continues.
Yeah, selfishly, we want that to continue, but also, obviously want to see guys flourish and keep on
I'll ask you this: if we
building.
do lose Spags, who do you think the DC is? Because I have a name, but I'm not.
Probably, if they promote internally, probably Brendan Daly, right? You don't think so?
I think it's an internal promotion, but I don't think it's Brendan Daly.
You think it's Merritt?
I do.
Yeah, I could see Merritt.
To
Brendan
keep him
Daly's up for
because
he's that's true.
about
Yeah,
ready. He interviewed for the Niners DC position last year.
that is true. Yeah, I mean,
And
I'd be cool with Merritt or Daly. I mean, I know Daly was up for the Patriots DC job a couple years ago before he came to
yeah,
Kansas
and I
City, and
love.
then
It's not
they
a shot at
shifted him
Brendan
to
Daly.
Buffalo.
I just think
No,
Dave
yeah,
Merritt
yeah.
is the next guy.
Also, with how they, just how they rally around him, how much he's been involved with the team,
How well
him
he's
and Nagy's
developed that
sons in the high school
quarterback room,
team. Yeah, yeah, I would be down
DB
for
room.
Merritt. Yeah,
So
hopefully we don't have to experience that. But yeah, I think Dave would be a pretty good signing. You're right. Yeah, the Hunts are definitely we have it pretty good in Chiefs Kingdom. But and offensively on the offense, who do you think gets promoted if they hire Nagy?
I think it's probably Joe Blameyer.
Do you think? Yeah,
He's passing game coordinator and quarterback coach, right?
he is passing game coordinator for sure. He might be the quarterback's coach too. I think. Yeah,
If he's not the quarterback coach now, he was, and that's usually the progression that they run for the offensive coordinator side. The only if it's not internal, people may have a heart attack about this one, but it'll be an old friend alert, I think, and it'll be Doug Peterson.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Blameyer is just listed as pass game coordinator. It looks like.
Okay, well, Blameyer is probably the guy.
David Girardi is quarterback.
Girardi is another name. I think I would probably lean towards Blameyer versus Girardi, but again, they all work on the game plans together. It's still Andy's offense. It's still Andy's deal. He still has final say. We've talked about that 5,000 times because somehow it's a conversation every freaking year.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think it's Joe Blameyer.
Though. Yeah, if it's internal, Joe Blameyer. Out external, I think Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, Andy. Look, Andy is a creature of habit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
he has his guys.
He ain't going to branch out from the tree. Yeah.
Well,
his
tree is huge.
It's big. It is big. Yeah.
It's really hard to branch out from a tree when like a third or more of the coaches in the league are from your coaching tree. Like
no, it's valid. Yeah, it is valid.
Because if they didn't coach directly under him, they coached under one of his main assistants. But yeah, for this kind of stuff, especially if they win it this year and they're trying to get 4 next year,
right? Yeah.
I don't see him going with an unknown or somebody he's not familiar with at either coordinator position if they were to lose one or both.
I agree. So that'll be something to monitor as more interviews happen and vacancies get filled, and we'll see if any team is willing to wait for the Chiefs to end season to end. That's the biggest thing.
Are we ready to talk about all of this stuff?
Yeah, I was about to say before we get out of here, I'd say we quickly go through all 6 of the playoff games and just give some quick predictions and kind of go through it. What do you think?
Shall we go in order?
Yeah, let's go in order. Yeah. So we can start. We'll start with the first wild card game of the weekend, which always seems to involve the Texans.
Every time they've been in the playoffs, they play the first Saturday game.
Yeah, back in 2015, it was the Chiefs at Texans. Now Davis returns that kickoff. Yeah, it's the Texans. They do love to schedule them on that first game. So we got Chargers at Texans. I don't
Okay.
know.
So the the
Do you have the
the
lines up?
line, yeah, I have the
I was gonna say
spreads.
that would be good to
The Chargers
include.
are -3, and the total's 41.5. So there's not. You're gonna see lower totals in the playoffs,
Wow,
for the
Chargers are
most part.
-3 on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
I'm.
I don't hate it.
That is begging for me. That is begging me to take the Texans. That is you are
Yeah.
you are begging me to take the Texans
So you're taking a win or just +3? You're
to
taking
win.
to win. Yeah. Okay.
+3
Yeah.
for sure,
+3
but
for
to
sure. Yeah.
win the
Yeah. Okay.
game. Look, it's guys, it's the Chargers.
It is the Chargers. Yeah.
I know Harbaugh is there and everything, but we've watched that franchise forever, and it's the same story every single time. The faces change, the names change, the Chargers stay the same. It's just
Yeah.
it
That is
is
true.
what it
The Chargers
is.
are inevitable.
They
They are
also
the
have
Chargers.
they also have some injuries. I still don't think J.K. Dobbins is fully healthy. Uh,
Mm.
I, that defense has not played well down the stretch.
Yeah.
If you look, and I also think Harbaugh's gonna do the. I think he might put the reins back on Herbert, and they try to go to the limited possession ground and pound game because it's the playoffs. I don't know that they're gonna. I mean, obviously they pummeled the Patriots, but like,
Yeah.
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 But they gave up 27 to Denver. They gave up 20 to the Raiders.
Mm.
To the
To
Raiders.
the Raiders. Yeah.
Now it wasn't that close because I think one of those touchdowns was late. But like, the Ravens put up 30 on them. The Bengals put up 27 on them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would definitely agree. I think
I don't love that. There's something weird about them being 3-point favorites on the
that
road.
is pretty weird. Yeah, that is a lot of overhype. I mean,
That
I know
means
the
they would be
Texans.
6-point favorites if you go by the old traditional ways of how they
Right.
do the
Yeah.
line making.
So like a
Because home
neutral.
field is usually 3 points
Yeah.
in the NFL, and that's a 6-point neutral site.
Are the Texans
9-point
healthy?
home
Like, are the
favorite.
Texans missing someone that we're just not remembering,
Well,
or
Tank
like?
Dell is out and
Well,
hurt,
yeah, but he's been out. I mean, the
but
Texans. I know the Texans have looked a little
they're
weaker
in a
the
bad
past few weeks,
division.
but
They've struggled, but
I
D'Amico
still wouldn't.
Ryans and that defense is legit. They're a legit defense.
Yeah, I mean, they
Our
really don't have
conversation
any
about
like
Derek Stingley earlier,
big missing
he's
people. Yeah.
still really good,
Yeah,
by the
still a
way.
really good player. Yeah,
And
I would take the Texans as well, just to get that out.
I
Like,
don't know what weapons the Chargers have that scare you. Lad
yeah, like,
McConkey, but what else?
yeah, exactly. Listen, like Harbaugh has done some good things there this year with the Chargers, and I think I think they're definitely starting a new era of more productive football. I just don't think it's going to
Sure.
be this year.
I
Yeah,
think it's better. It's
I don't
of
think
course
there's.
better. He's not
Yeah,
Brandon Staley. You
exactly. It's
won't
hard to be worse than that. Yeah,
if they're up 27 points, I don't think they're losing the game. Okay?
exactly. Yeah,
I don't think you're going to
that's the
see an
difference maker right
absolute
there. Yeah,
nuclear meltdown.
yeah. I just don't know if the Chargers quite have the artillery to even hang with the Texans at
I
home.
don't
Yeah,
think, and we talked about it. He's only been there. This is his first year. To turn them around completely in a year is
that's a bold task, even for a coach like Harbaugh. Yeah.
So I would probably take the Texans. I don't
agree.
love it. I would definitely take the +3.
Definitely take the
I think
+3.
this game
I
is.
agree.
And I actually I'd probably move the line to 0.5 point and get 3.5, so that it's a. But I don't believe in that line, and that smells funny to me.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. Next game of the day for Saturday: Steelers at Ravens. What's the line looking at that?
9.5. Baltimore has got at home.
Yeah. I don't know how much I disagree either. I mean, the Steelers, they had a good run. They did have a good run. The Steelers.
I don't know that it's going to be a 10-point game.
I don't think it'll be. It might not be that much, but the Steelers, they have been kind of collapsing internally the past few weeks after.
That's
Christmas
the thing
Day
that scares me.
yeah, the dysfunction it seems like on the defense, and just
And
Russ
Russ's
has not
decision
been.
making.
Yeah,
What
Russ the first couple weeks he came back, he was looking hot, and then he
that
kind of came back to good old Russ again.
that
Classic,
Bengals
classic
game,
Russ.
that Bengals Steelers game, that 2-minute drive at the end of the game,
Mhm.
that's one of the worst 2-minute drives I've ever seen, ever. Not
Yeah,
not for like a pro. That's one of the worst 2-minute drives ever
mhm,
in the
mhm.
history. Like what?
What?
If you
Yeah,
watched that and were like, "Oh, that seems like a good idea," you should probably go find another sport. I don't like that was mind-boggling.
yeah. So
He decides to try to truck the guy
yeah, just let's just
instead of
hit
getting
him
out
with
of
the hit stick.
bounds and
Yeah,
stopping the clock. Like
let's
there
potentially
was
concuss myself here real quick. Yeah.
it was so bad. And then after the game, when Cam Hayward and several other of the players are like visibly upset,
Mhm.
Russ is just like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go win 4 more games in a row, guys. We got it. We're gonna go." Like, what are you talking?
Yeah,
Did you see what you
yeah. I don't know
just
about
did?
that. Yeah. That's why,
I
yeah,
can't.
that's why I'd have a lot of question marks around the
I
Steelers.
don't know that the
I would not
Ravens
trust
win by 10. They might. They might
they might.
blast them. If
I
that
also think
defense
it's a possibility.
if that defense has as many internal fighting issues as they've seemed to have let on that they have, they could
Yeah,
get blown out.
and
But
the Ravens are hot. I mean, they're a hot team.
TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and that's a legit defense if they're all functioning. And the loss of Zay Flowers, he's not going to
Oh,
play in
yeah,
this game.
that is tough. I forgot about that.
He's
Yeah,
not going to play in this game. They might get him back for
for the divisional.
whoever's
Yeah,
next, but I don't know. They're gonna have to go more into the 2 tight end set. They're gonna have to because then your 3 best weapons outside of Derrick Henry are Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and Rashad Bateman. Because Zay
yeah,
Flowers has been their number 1 receiver
number one.
and he's
Yeah,
been their guy.
a
Like
lot of production out of him. Yeah, that's
that's
gonna
a
be
big
interesting. Yeah,
injury and it's gonna change a little bit. Plus, those teams have seen each other twice already this year.
right. That'll be a third meeting. Yeah, so
Now, the Ravens popped them 4 days before Christmas, 34-17, but the Steelers beat them 18-16 on nothing but field
oh,
goals
did they? Yeah, I remember that
in
actually. Yeah, I remember
October
that. Oh, wasn't that with
on
Justin
my
Fields?
birthday.
Was that
So,
with Justin Fields or was that with Russell Wilson?
no, that was Russell Wilson.
Okay.
He was 23 of 36 for 205 and a pick.
I think they had another game they won with Justin Fields where it was only field goals as well.
But they held Derrick Henry to 65 yards in that game.
That's probably. I mean, yeah, they obviously kind of know what it takes to be done to win.
I really, really hope the Ravens don't overthink it and do weird things.
Yeah,
I
think it's
don't.
too early in the playoffs for them to be doing that. They usually do that around divisional or AFC
I'm
championship time.
worried about that Zay Flowers injury a lot. That is a scary thing to have happen, and that Ravens defense has been susceptible in the secondary this year.
Yeah.
So if you accidentally let George Pickens beat you over the top, and all of a sudden Russ is throwing moonballs all over your secondary, that game could get crazy in a hurry.
Yeah, I just can't.
I don't think they're beat. I don't think
I wouldn't
Pittsburgh
put my
wins the
faith in
game.
Russ. Yeah,
I would not bet them to win the game, but I would not be surprised if that game is a 3-point, one possession.
So you might take 10.5 plus 10.5 for the Steelers. Then yeah, you would take.
They're 9.5, but yeah, I think
yeah.
they probably. I think it's a 1-possession game, unless late it gets out of hand. But that game
should be a good game.
That's one of those. It's a division opponent.
Yeah.
It'll be the third time they play. It's hard to win like that, man. And they're not going to be afraid of the weather or the conditions or going into play in that stadium.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
do it at least once a year. So
yeah.
I think the Ravens get it done, but I think it's 1 possession. I don't think it's 2. I don't think it's a 2-possession game.
I could agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Hopping over to Sunday, first game of the day.
Boy.
Broncos at Bills. What's the line looking like on that one?
Here you go, G-Pick. We're here now. We're gonna get to this.
We are here. Yeah, we are here. What's the line looking like on Broncos Bills?
Ooh, G-Pick with the spicy. The Bills are favored by 9.5 points.
Okay, yeah, that's a That's a lot of line. That's a big line. Yeah, that's a really big line for.
I
It's
think
it's
that's the
in
rookie
Buffalo.
quarterback thing.
Yeah, rookie quarterback, first playoff game. This is the first. I mean, this is Broncos' first playoff appearance since Peyton Manning was there. So I mean,
literally since they won the Super Bowl.
yeah. So that's something. You know, definitely a lot of motivation, you could say, but also a lot of unfamiliarity for that Broncos team. As far as the Bills, you know, they're tried and true playoff. They've got a lot of playoff victories under their belt. They know how it goes. I would probably take the Bills. I think there's a chance that the Broncos walk in and upset them. They have a pretty high explosive offense that might be able to do it. It's going to be tough in Buffalo. It's probably going to be real cold up there.
This game is less about the offense of the Broncos for me.
Yeah, more about how the Bills defense figures it out.
No, it's less about the Broncos offense because the Bills defense is susceptible. Like, I'm not worried about the Broncos offense. And I think the thing that should scare Buffalo is the Broncos defense. They're
pretty good.
Legit solid all the way across that D line. They have guys at every position. Hell, we just watched it.
Yeah.
I know it was against backups, but that same team played us tough earlier this year. I blocked a field goal to win that game. Like, that defense is a legit defense. And they've got guys that can get Josh Allen on the ground on that defensive line. Nick Bonito, Zach Allen, they are not going to be afraid of that Bills offense. They're not. Whatever your number one target is going to be erased. You might as well count that now.
Matt Surtain, yeah, he's locking it down.
PS2 is going to be heads up, likely with Khalil Shakir, and I wish Khalil the best of luck.
Yeah, do they have Amari Cooper playing for him, or is he?
Amari? I don't know. And I mean, he may see if Amari's playing, it'll be Surtain and Amari, but then Amari's gone. Like, I love Amari Cooper, but Patrick Surtain is a problem for them.
Yeah. No,
this
definitely.
game, I don't like the 9.5. I don't.
No, that's pretty steep. Yeah, that's pretty steep. I'd say.
Steep line. And Sean Payton, the Broncos may be new to the playoffs and new to the big games. Sean Payton is not.
Yeah,
he's going to have a plan for Bo Nix. He's going to have a plan for that offense. This game comes down to, can the Broncos defense cause the Buffalo offense problems?
Yeah, it also seems like Buffalo's pretty healthy. It doesn't seem like they have any notable guys.
They're healthy.
Missing
they
time.
Rested pretty much everybody.
Exactly.
I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball, which I think is going to be an issue. James Cook is going to need to have a day for them to be successful. And you may get an I'm going to win this game from Josh Allen. You may.
Yeah,
he may do that.
He does do that.
He can do that. But this is not a great matchup for Buffalo, no matter what people seem to think.
Yeah, no, stylistically, yeah, it's definitely a tough match. Yeah, I could definitely,
definitely not fights. And Denver has some tools.
They do.
I think this is a 3-point game.
I
could go either way. I would take the Bills to win it, just on the pick'em side of things, just because Josh Allen is Josh Allen, man. That's a dude. He plays well in the playoffs. His defense and his head coach don't, but he does.
That's always the thing. You don't.
And that's the other thing that concerns me in this matchup for the Bills. The best coach on the field will not be on Buffalo's sideline.
Yeah, one of the few times. Yeah, well, maybe not as few times, but definitely, they have the coaching advantage with Sean Payton as far as familiarity and how to run things, especially in playoff scenarios. Like, it's different in the playoffs. You know, you have to do things that you might not always do. So,
clock management, operate timeouts correctly, know how not to get beaten 13 seconds. You know, stuff like that.
All that kind of things. Yeah, I think I'd still take Buffalo money line, but I would be intrigued, especially whatever line you can get the Broncos at. I would definitely
Broncos are plus 380 to win that game, and
that's not bad. Maybe just a little sprinkle, you know, just a little sprinkle.
A little sprinkle might be. Sorry, I happened to turn my head, and Will Howard is running down the field.
Wild. Yeah. Okay. Next game of the Sunday slate, the middle afternoon game, we got Packers going into Philadelphia at the Eagles. What's the line looking like for that?
So it opened at 3.5. The Eagles are now favored by 5. This comes down to is Is Jalen playing?
Right. Yeah, that's a
And I
big thing.
think he's going to play. I think he's
gonna
out of
play. Yeah,
concussion
I think he
protocol.
passed the protocol. Yeah, I think that
The
should be good.
Packers
AJ
are
Brown, is he playing?
who?
Like I saw AJ Brown. I feel like I saw
He
some
should
that
play.
he. Okay.
I don't. I would be very surprised. Jair Alexander is out for the year for the Packers.
Yeah. So is
Christian
Christian
Watson tore
Watson.
his
Yeah.
ACL again, or not again, but he had another injury last year that was pretty bad too. But he tore his ACL. Um, I don't
Devontae
think
Smith did not participate in practice, the last practice, which is interesting.
Nick Sirianni is not by any stretch of the imagination what I would consider a good coach in multiple aspects, but they
Yeah.
do have solid coordinators, and he does at least manage the game for the most part correctly. He can't manage his players or his personalities on the sideline, but he can at least for the most part manage the game.
Hmm.
Matt LaFleur is a great coach.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So that coaching matchup is kind of a wash for me, because the coordinators for Philly make up for a lot of the deficiencies for Sirianni. But I think your problem is I just don't know if the Packers have the horses in the barn against that defense. That Philadelphia defense is nasty, and
Pretty
they
stout.
are
You know.
deep, deep. Philly is a team that I like that could be a dark horse to come out of there for the Super Bowl. I know everybody's in love with the Lions and the Vikings. I would say the Bears, oh my, but it's the Bears. Give me Philly, and I think they probably cover the number at the 5. I don't love it at 5, but I just don't know if the Packers get behind, I don't know if they can deal with that game script.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. I think the Packers. I think the Packers have more of a chance than 5.5, whatever that line is. Yeah, there's just you hear that again.
Is there street racing happening outside?
This is everyone loves just driving by as loud as they can next to my window. Yeah, I don't know. The Packers, they've been up and down this year. They had a pretty good regular season. It seems like injuries have been another thing that have just kind of derailed them.
Yep.
The Eagles seem to be gelling pretty well. Obviously, Saquon, it's just insane. That offensive line, they can run the ball on them all day long. It's going to take a pretty big effort from the Packers to go into Philadelphia.
That would be a huge upset, in my opinion.
I would say, yeah. I mean, that would be a pretty huge upset, but it's also one of the more realistic ones I think could happen. I'm still taking Philly, and I would even say that they would cover, but I don't know. That would be one that I feel less confident about than some. I think that's it. The Packers just feel like a sneaky good team.
The Packers are a legitimately good team.
Yeah,
they just happen to play in the same division with the Lions and the Vikings.
Yeah, it's a couple other really good teams as well. Yeah. Okay. Final game of the Sunday slate, the night game. We have the Commanders heading to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. What is the line looking like on that one?
Tampa is a 3-point home favorite.
Yeah, I don't hate that. So it's about neutral on even field. It's the Commanders have been really hot. They have been really hot with Jaden Daniels. It's been a real fun story. Obviously the Bucs have kind of been there, done that a little bit more. Baker Mayfield had Baker Mayfield won a playoff game. I forget if they went last year. I think they won a playoff game last year, didn't they? I think they beat the Eagles actually.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So the Bucs are a pretty good team. They got a really good running game with Bucky Irving and Rashad White. And
that's the story, I think, for me.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, the Commanders' defense, it's not as on par as the rest of the playoff defenses that we're seeing.
They are going to have Lattimore, which strap in. That's going to be some popcorn because Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore one-on-one all over again.
They have some history already
for years, and they hate one another. So that
will be entertaining. Yeah,
that reminds me a little bit of the Andre Johnson Cortland Finnegan matchups from back in the day where they ended up in it's like that nearly every time.
Or Odell and Josh Norman.
Those kind of that's that kind of matchup.
Richard Sherman and Michael Crabtree.
That's that thing, and those two are going to go at it. Provided Marshawn is healthy, those two are going to go at it all game long. There's going to be a lot of it, but I don't know that the Commanders can stop the ground game.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. Yeah, I think
they're running the ball.
And Tampa's got a really, I mean, their offense with Liam Cohen as their offensive coordinator, who's probably going to get a lot of head coaching interviews this cycle. It's just, they're really set up for success. And, you know, Commanders' first year with Jaden Daniels, and they've had a good run. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year and all that stuff.
I don't know how he doesn't.
No, yeah, I think he definitely does for sure. And first year with Dan Quinn there and whatnot, like definitely a productive season. Good to earn a playoff berth. But,
yeah,
you know, I just don't think they're quite at that step.
And they have the better record. But
yeah, that is true. That is true.
The thing that could bite Tampa is Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I mean that's typically what bites Tampa. Yeah, that is typically.
We had Ken on.
We did
from Bucks Barrett. If you're not familiar, he for the Tampa Bay game.
Yep.
Todd Bowles, man. If
you're a Bucks fan, you almost. If I'm a Bucks fan, I almost might want to lose this game just so they have to fire Todd Bowles and maybe
keep Liam
Cohen. Yeah, I think that would be really liked by a lot of
the Bucks fans would not be mad about that. But
exactly. But also you want to win playoff game.
There is a world where Jaden Daniels goes in there and lights that defense up.
There is, yeah, there is.
Because for whatever reason, Todd Bowles' defense sometimes just loses their minds.
Yeah, just loses it all. Yeah.
But if Tampa goes in and controls the game on the ground and runs the ball effectively, and Baker doesn't turn it over, I just don't see Washington winning this game.
Yeah, I think I would take the Bucks -3. Yeah, you know, -3 is not bad. I guess I would take that.
I'm probably taking them on the money line. I'm probably not touching the spread.
I probably wouldn't touch the spread either. Yeah, but I would take the Bucks. I think they get it done at home in Tampa down there. I think that's more favorable for them. And then the last and final game of the weekend on Monday for Monday Night Football, the Vikings versus the Rams, not in LA where it was originally scheduled to be. Because of the
thoughts with everybody out there.
Really horrible wildfires going on in LA and really, really bad scenes there. Which
thinking about everybody out there for that. That's
definitely wishing well for everyone in LA and all that area dealing with those wildfires. So because of that, the game was moved to Glendale, Arizona, which is cool. And so the Rams don't have much of a home field advantage anymore. What's the line looking like on that game?
Minnesota -3.
Minnesota. Okay, that's the first the road favorite. Yeah.
Well, Houston, Chargers.
Oh, Chargers. Oh yeah, Chargers were
same line.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know about your thoughts. I'm liking the Vikings though. I'm liking the Vikings a lot. They're obviously were competing for the 1 seed with Detroit to potentially get in there and get that for week 1 bye. I think the Vikings are pretty hot. I think they're a really underrated team. I think they have Kevin O'Connell is a really good coach who's putting his guys in a really good position to succeed. Sam Darnold, if they can figure it out in the red zone, that's the biggest thing that we saw in that Detroit Week 18 game is they could not do anything once they got into the red zone. Sam Darnold was a little trigger happy on some of those situations, but they got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you got some really good players, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones run the ball. Their offense is pretty productive. Their defense ain't nothing to sneeze at either. I mean, they're definitely got a good defense. And the Rams, the Rams have had a good season. They've had to battle a lot of injuries early on as well, which was tough for them. But losing this game in LA honestly is going to affect them, I think, a little bit. Just not having a little bit. I think it's still going to be majority Rams fans in the building. But
I don't know, man. SoFi is never a majority of Rams fans or Chargers fans in any building.
That is true. SoFi is always kind of just a destination stadium to visit anyways. So
I'm going to take the Rams.
Really? First underdog choice. Yeah.
Look, we've been waiting all year to see if Sam Darnold was going to turn back into Sam Darnold. And Detroit turned him back into Sam Darnold. And that Detroit defense is destroyed with injuries.
Yeah.
Destroyed. And they smothered them. Now, part of that is because the Vikings decided to try to beat Detroit and go for it all the time down low, and they didn't get in. That is that.
Keep the field goals.
But in games like this, where you've got two pretty good teams across the ball from one another, I'm taking the quarterback, and I'm taking Matt Stafford over Sam Darnold every time. And the other thing I'm taking is the coach. And Sean McVay,
Sean
there's a
McVay's a good coach.
reason that everybody on the planet was hiring anybody that had had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay for a while.
Yeah.
There,
He's been there, done that in the playoffs, got a Super
and
Bowl win.
these guys, there are still several pieces on this team that were part of that Super Bowl run. Puka Nacua is a problem. Cooper
He's a
Kupp
dog.
is a
Yeah.
problem. They're going to be able to run the ball because they have a run game. If that little bit younger Rams defense, especially along the defensive line, can have a decent day, and this game is close, and they get into a shootout of any variety, give me Matt Stafford every time against Sam Darnold.
It's gonna be tough for Sam Darnold to keep up in a shootout. I agree. It's gonna be tough.
I think the Rams could sneak up on the Vikings, and I think they could sneak up on another team next week too.
Really, that'd be impressive for the Rams.
If they beat the Vikings, they have a shot to make the title game, the NFC title game, and then all bets are off.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, it's just about what version of the Vikings show up is I think the biggest thing because my mom's a Vikings fan, so I've watched a lot of Vikings games in the past few years, and the big thing with the Vikings, very similar. I've always compared them to they're basically the NFC version of the Chargers. Like they look good sometimes, but then it seems pretty inevitable that they always just crash and burn at the when they don't need to. As
Brian Flores is going to have his hands full
with situations
with the Rams.
I mean, he's a good D coordinator. He's going to have some head coaching interviews this upcoming cycle, but yeah, it's just a matter of if they can contain Matt Stafford and if the offense can figure it out in the red zone, because that's their biggest issue, and we'll see. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting game too in Glendale on the road for both teams.
It's funny. I don't like the two road favorites. It's kind of funny. I just realized that, but like I think Houston and LA can get things done. I do. So
that's valid. No, that does make a little bit of sense. I can see it happening. So yeah, should be interesting.
Sorry, Vikings fans. Sorry, Mama Williams. That's not. I'm not trying to hate on your team. I just. I have some concern.
She's the biggest hater of them. She's the biggest hater on earth of the Vikings. Like that's no thing. She already knows that they're going to lose the game. She has no confidence in them. I have confidence in them that they at least put up a decent showing. But yeah, there's a chance that they could get bounced one and done. I would say what for Vikings fans it almost is a little bit better of a situation, anyways. That Sam Darnold doesn't get any more hype and the train rolling, because then that makes your decision next year pretty hard as well. I mean, they still might be in a position they have to re-sign him anyways, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to see if what they do next year at the quarterback position with Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. So there she is. Yep. Okay, I think that's everything we've got tonight. We went a pretty long episode.
This is supposed to be a short episode.
There's just so much things to talk about when you really get to talking about it, So with that, I think that's what we're going to end off with. One more time, just going to give a shout out to our friends at Underdog. Use promo code KingdomSays over there if you haven't signed up already. You get a deposit match and a free pick and all that fun stuff to stay involved this weekend in Super Wildcard Weekend. You make some picks, get some fantasy teams going and whatnot on there, and just have a grand old time celebrating another stress-free weekend of Chiefs football, not having to play it, and we'll see.
Watching everybody else.
Yeah.
I do hope that Bills Broncos game is as physical and as punishing as possible for whoever comes out of that game. I will say that.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Same with Ravens and Steelers. That Ravens Steelers game I think is going to be a fist fight for a little while.
Yeah, or Chargers and Texans too. I mean, well, really the Chargers and Texans are the most likely people we end up facing, right? Because the seeding, like if the Ravens and Bills win, then we're going to face one of the Chargers and Texans. So,
yep.
Yeah, will be interesting to see who the Chiefs end up facing in the divisional round in a couple weeks from now. So thank you all, Chiefs Kingdom, for tuning in, watching, and rocking with us tonight. Be sure to check us out at Kingdom Says Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check us out over on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts at
Kingdom Says Pod, and go enter the giveaway for the print that we're doing right now. And if you guys do enter the giveaway and get the numbers up to the right number, since Travis Kelce won the Walter Payton Man of the Year challenge,
yep.
If you get it to, I believe it's 250, we have it set at now. we will give away that bonus print too of Travis Kelce. So shout out to our guy Corey. He's got some stuff going on, but he's going to be all right, and we're all thinking of him, and we're happy to have him partner with us, and looking forward to continuing on with that and the rest of this year of Chiefs football. So go into the giveaways, go follow us on all the socials and all the
At Kingdom Says
platforms.
Pod over on X on there to get into that giveaway. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with Tom back. Hopefully we'll get the gang all back together, and we'll be talking about some things that actually matter as far as Chiefs football. We'll talk about a real opponent and whatnot, and what to expect with the actual season ready for the Chiefs right now. So yeah, thank you, Chiefs Kingdom. We will see you guys in the next episode of the Kingdom Says.